Andrew, the future could be bright for UCF at QB2 this year. Listening to Scott Frost.
But the competition's getting tight.
Let's go.
You are Locked On UCF, your daily podcast on the UCF Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On UCF, your daily UCF podcast. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up. We'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend, Andrew Glucov, senior writer, UCFKnightZone.com. Talk a little UCF football to get your Mondays started. Andrew, on today's show, they got to make the most of this fall camp. Week 1 game prep is coming fast, but Scott Frost has got some things he's got to get done before they start preparing for Bethune-Cookman.
It's all about building depth, and you can't forget about that running back room.
No, you cannot forget about that run game. I fear that they're getting lost in the shuffle, so we'll deal with that. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the competition at QB2 behind Alonza Barnett. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your likes and subscribes help keep us the #1 source of UCF football content out there. Today's show is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code Locked On to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. We'll tell you more about the Kalshi app later in the show. They're running the competition behind Alonza Barnett. He's been pretty clear since they picked up Alonza from the portal. He's going to be QB1. Nobody doubted that, not even the other QBs. We heard from all of them in person after the last practice of the spring, and they were all very supportive of that decision. However, behind our Alonza rages a competition where if something happens to him, every single one of those guys wants to be the next man up. Andrew, let's listen to Scott Frost talk about this QB competition. We played this. I want to play it again, and I want to get your thoughts on this QB2 competition.
Coach, what about that QB2 spot? We saw Kaleb Annette get some reps after Alonza Barnett during the scrimmage. Do you have that QB2 spot solidified, or what's kind of your outlook on that?
I don't know if it's solidified. Caleb's taking the 2s right now. Lights and Rocco both are going to get some reps there. You know, there's been a lot of talk about Alonza. I really like our quarterback room in general, just the professional nature that they approach things with, the talent we have in that room. I feel great about that room. It helps that we have a clear-cut #1, and I think that takes pressures off other guys to just take their time and improve. Caleb's done good things. Rocco's looked really good out there today. Lights has done good things since he's been here and has a lot of experience. And Dante's really talented and young, and we're trying to get him reps where we can. So overall, I think KZ's done a good job with that room, and I feel good about it.
I want to highlight some things he said there that I feel are really important. He likes the professional nature of that QB room, you know, indicating there that all these guys are approaching they're approaching practice in a professional way. That tells me that you've got some solid character guys in the room behind Alonza and Rocco Marriott, the freshman, Kejuan Jenkins, who James really likes, and now Kaleb Annette, who seems to have I don't know. I want to say he came out of nowhere, but certainly we weren't really talking about him this spring as a guy that could take that QB2 spot. Now, I don't want to forget about freshman Dante Carr, who was also in that room, but he was clear with us when we interviewed him that Scott Frost and McKenzie told him that he would be a project. He remains a project at this point. But what do you think about Kaleb Annette kind of rising the ranks here? I mean, Kejuan Jenkins has real tape, and I think it says something good for Kaleb Annette that he was able to kind of overcome that to garner more reps in fall camp.
Well, you know, you see this in the NFL as well, where, you know, players are constantly jockeying for position, and when you think you've got it figured out, there's a swerve, and you know that fight for depth, you know, it's constant. You know, the fact that Jenkins came in as kind of a seasoned vet in this group, yeah, that's great and all, but at the end of the day, you know, it's about who's the best guy, and you know, Kaleb Annette's a bit of a wild card because he comes from Boise State. You know, he was redshirt sophomore. He didn't play. So you know, as a result, you know, there's a lot of things we don't see. And there isn't a lot of film on him. So this is the time, you have spring practice to kind of just start getting your feet wet and getting acclimated to a new system, like Scott Frost did last year. It's like learning a new language. That's what the spring was about. Now they've learned the language. It's about, having football conversation with that language. And you're seeing, who rises, who falls. And, if Annette turns out to be the guy, I mean, UCF's in a good position because you got Jenkins, who's a vet. He's been there, done that at FIU. Annette, coming from Boise State. And then you've got, the two freshmen, Marriott and Carr, in the back, and you don't want to rush them. So the fact that you've got two guys who are not freshmen actively competing should give you a degree of confidence, because we saw what happened last year. Injuries abound. Every quarterback got beat up somehow, and you got to have QB2 ready to step in at any time for any reason.
Yeah, definitely have to have QB2 ready to step in. If you look at the numbers across college football about the amount of P4 teams that have to turn to their QB2 for a meaningful start, it's like half. So the chances are at some point UCF may need one of those guys to step in for one reason or another this year. And if you want to move this team forward, you can't waste any games, I think, if you're Scott Frost. Right? I mean, they set the over-under at 5.5 for you. And I think they have a good chance to get off to a 4-0 start with who they have on the schedule if they can conquer Pitt week 2. So Bethune-Cookman, before we move on, I want to talk about Bethune-Cookman and the chances that we could see significant time for QB2, meaning at least a whole quarter. The hope is that, unlike what happened last year in game 1, it is not a game in the fourth quarter. It is not a game in the fourth quarter, and we could see Kaleb or Kejuan or whoever ends up winning it. James, when him and I talked on yesterday's episode, he seemed to indicate that Rocco isn't all the way out of this race just yet either. The young 4-star freshman performing very well so far in camp. What are the chances we see a lot of QB? How important is it to get QB2 reps against Bethune-Cookman? You start your conference schedule pretty early.
I think it's important. It's really important. That's one of the reasons why you schedule those FCS games. And you don't view it as a glorified scrimmage or anything, but you take advantage of the opportunities given to you. Those games are scheduled because you have a budget to balance. Let's be honest. It's financially driven, and it gives you as a team also a chance to get players acclimated and kind of try things. So it kind of works in two ways. If UCF can jump out to a very comfortable lead, if lucky, 2.5 quarters out of Alonza. I mean, I would prefer not saying anything more beyond 3, but that's only if the game is within 4 touchdowns. So let's see. Bethune-Cookman last year went 6-6 in the SWAC.
That's right.
So there's no reason why UCF should not have a comfortable lead by halftime.
I agree. Look, let's get to the break, and when we come back, I want to change gears and talk about the guys in that running back room and the run game. Yesterday, we got a chance to hear. 2 days ago, we got a chance to hear from Tavion Swint. James asked him some questions. He likes Tavion, but Duke Watson looms large in that room. UCF's got some potential big-time talent there. We'll talk about that next, right here on Locked On UCF. Andrew, we're big on predictions here at Locked On UCF. If you missed our Boom Battle or Bust segment, boy, did we get some predictions out there. But if you like predictions, you can download the Call Sheet app. It's a little bit of a different approach here. Before any season gets kicked off. Everyone's making predictions, including us. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Call Sheet, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. On Call Sheet, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Call Sheet. Download the Call Sheet app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 off when you trade $10. Call Sheet, KALSHI, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Call Sheet products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see callsheet.com/regulatory. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We are pumping out legendary levels of content right now, Locked On UCF. You guys have been great in the comment section, so we appreciate your support. Please keep supporting as we get closer to the season. This run game cannot be overlooked. It cannot be abandoned. Fortunately, Alonza Barnett is your QB, so he can run the ball. He can tote the rock. And he will tote the rock for UCF. But I don't know if I want to see him run it too much because I want to see him stay healthy, which means leaning on Tavion Swint and Duke Watson. Now, we talked about Duke Watson, a guy who averaged a lot of yards as a freshman. As a matter of fact, his freshman year, he averaged like 9.8 yards per carry, something crazy like that. He did carry the ball like 40 or 50 times, so it wasn't like on 10 carries or something. He had a very promising freshman campaign before it was sidelined. His career was sidelined a little bit by injuries. He's back. He's healthy. And UCF thinks that he could be a big player for them this year. James likes Tavion Swint. Kyle likes Tavion Swint. I just think, look, man, give me all three. Give me Tavion, give me Duke, give me Alonza, and let's go run the piss out of the football, Andrew.
Well, you also can't forget about Landon Chambers, too, the transfer from Central Arkansas. He was a 1,200-yard rusher last year. So, you can't forget about him. And you look at he's 5'11", 215. He's the stockiest running back in the room. So one of the things that UCF had trouble with last year was short yardage situations, especially near the goal line. They just didn't have anyone with that oomph, that power. That's where a guy like Chambers comes into play. Tavion Swint, I'm really excited to see him. He was a highly touted freshman, missed last year due to injury, kind of that opportunity lost, but he's back. And the last time UCF had an exciting guy who was coming in the running back room, wowed everyone, then got hurt, missed the season. Yeah, his name was RJ Harvey. This is a guy who's got something to prove, to show that the wait's worth it. Things happen. I think Tavion Swint is well worth the wait on this one, but we can't forget about Landon Chambers too. And then, as you said, Duke Watson, that guy, he can be lightning in a bottle.
He can. Be careful invoking the name of RJ Harvey there. I'm telling you, I am optimistic. I am as optimistic as any about this season. And I think that the run game is going to have to pop if UCF is going to go where they want to go this season. There's a lot of talk about the receivers and the passing game, but we cannot forget about this run game. I want to go back to your boom, battle, or bust.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I want to go back. Because where are the opportunities on the schedule for UCF to kind of run the ball, you think? Now, BYU, Houston, Oklahoma State, you got in the bust column, but which opponents here do you feel like UCF's really going to have a chance to run the ball on?
Well, I mean, you got to run the ball a lot early in the season and establish. I think it's going to be really important for those road games, Pitt especially. It's always a physical team up there. You need to, on the road, wear down opponents and prevent that momentum from coming back. Slow the game down, keep the offense off the field, just move the ball, kind of demoralize, and then come to the fourth quarter. You're just making chunk plays. It's the Navy mentality. And that's what made Navy so dangerous is they would run. And by the fourth quarter, your defense, is well rested and their defense is panting like crazy. And you're just able to start getting chunk yardage. I think in those roadies, the running game is going to be paramount. You need the pass game to make the big play, but the road game, the run game is really going to set that up. It's going to bring the defense forward. They're going to have to start stacking the box a little bit. And then you got one-on-one coverage. You can go over the top with some of these speedy wide receivers that they have and just take all the wind out of their sails because you don't have the opportunity on the road to get that, that momentum from the crowd. You have to create it yourself. And the best way to do it is to wear them out and then go over the top.
Before we move on, talk to me. Like, you and I have had a lot of conversations after Scott Frost got hired about the balance between run and pass. When this offense is most successful, when his offenses are most successful, what's the run pass balance here? Is it 60-40? Is it 45-55? Is it 50-50? How do you see this thing playing out?
Yeah, so on the surface, you would think, oh, this is a pass heavy offense. It really is not. It's kind of like 55-45 in
when it's successful. When it's successful, yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a lot more of a balanced offense. It's just they use one to set up the other, which is a great way of doing it. It's use one strength to set up another strength, and it also helps if you have a weakness somewhere. By exploiting the strength, it kind of covers up the weakness, and then you can kind of use it a little bit. Again, it comes down to, just wearing defenses out, making them uncomfortable and giving them a false sense of security. They think, oh, Scott Frost, he's the spread guy. He's going to throw it downfield. If it's not there, you obviously don't force it. As we know from Alonza Barnett, he has no problem throwing over the middle. I mean, that was his bread and butter, really, at James Madison. If you look at his numbers, his deep passes were largely over the middle because he didn't have the receivers that could create the separation to really, take over offense on the offensive side. So I think in this case, it's still going to be pretty balanced. A smart play caller, you take what it gives you. And if they're going to play further back and respect that pass, okay, run the ball. If they're going to start, stacking, 8 guys in the box, go over the top. It's, set one up to exploit the other. And, you got your script plays early on that lasts the first drive, and then the real game begins.
Yeah, I cannot tell you, my excitement for this season is building the more we talk about the possibilities for the guys that could have surprise seasons to everybody else. Not surprise for us because we know who the key players are, but we spend a lot of time this offseason trying to educate the casual that don't really pay attention to football during the offseason, and even some of the more diehards that say they pay attention but may still not know who the key players are here. Our excitement right now is free. Before any games have been played, you don't have to earn our excitement here at Locked On UCF. But
it's football season.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it just will go up or down based on what they do during the season. So hopefully we get it kicked off on a good note. Let's get to our last break, and when we come back, I just want to have a little chat about how they make the most of the rest of fall camp. We'll talk about that next right here on Locked On UCF. Andrew, I love concerts. Do you love concerts?
Love concerts. Sporting events, all of them.
You just went to a concert recently. What was the concert you went to recently?
It wasn't a concert. It was a soccer game.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I told you I had an international friendly in my backyard. Game time helped us get tickets. It was actually Argentina that came to town. It was amazing. But deciding I wanted to go see Argentina wasn't the hard part. It was getting tickets. That was extremely difficult. And Game Time helped me out with that. So whether it's games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals, you want to let Game Time handle the hard part. And that's getting you tickets to attend. Between long wait times, confusing checkout process, and maybe surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, panoramic seat views at that, and exclusive savings opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. Andrew, take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Hopefully, UCF fans will be buying up tickets to home games and road games because they're just winning so much that you can't miss your UCF Knights playing football. I'm getting tickets to the space game this year. I'm going to be at the space game this year. It's going to be
an excellent choice.
An excellent choice. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think just being at the bounce house with the fans. You will be attending every home game on behalf of the channel, also bringing us excellent coverage from the post games. And I mentioned that because you've seen a lot of fall camps. As a writer, as a media professional, as someone who's covered UCF, as an alum, as a fan, what are the things that you feel like Scott Frost has to flesh out for the rest of fall camp to make sure that they are as ready as they can be come week one prep?
You got to make sure that offensive line is ready.
Yeah,
that's always that. I mean, that's you look at where we are geographically. We're in the state of Florida. And you get speed is in plenty of supply. However, the beef you need in the trenches for Big 12 competition is not. And so UCF's had to go outside and bring people in, and that's messy. Quarterback is the most expensive player, to bring in the portal. The offensive line is the next most expensive because finding good offensive line talent is really hard. And it's been really difficult for UCF to develop it from the high school ranks, which they really need to do. And right now they've just been patchworking it with the portal. So you've got to get those guys in sync. You got to get them gel, and you have to figure out where the exact strengths are and where the weaknesses are, because your offensive line is only as good as your weakest component. And if you don't have that synergy in place, I mean, it's going to just absolutely disrupt the offense, and all those great skilled players won't be able to fix that.
Yeah, I agree completely. Look, I think solidify your pass game, figure out who your key guys are going to be. It sounds like Josh Derry did what we expected him to do, kind of putting himself as a leader in that wide receiver room. But there are young guys like Tyron Horns. I think it's going to be important for them to figure out which young guys have the potential to contribute meaningfully early on in the season. I like Tyron Horns, but there are other young guys who are they want to play now. Andrew, they want to play now.
They're going to get opportunities.
Well, they are. The portal has made it important for these guys to get tape as early as possible. So promises of playing time down the line don't mean what they used to. When a coach can go to the portal and get a guy who's been getting tape at maybe a G5 school, but it's still tape. And sometimes that G5 actual playing time is better than your P4 practice tape. That's just the reality of the situation for these young guys. So they're fighting for playing time early now, and they're not wanting to wait. That whole wait your turn thing is never meant less to players than it means right now because of the portal and, eliminating that penalty period where you have to sit a year if you want to go stay Division I. So I'm excited to see which young guys rise to the challenge. Hopefully we get to see that week 1 versus Bethune-Cookman. Andrew Glucov, senior writer, UCFKnightZone.com. I want to thank you for joining me on today's show. Guys, hit the comments after the video. Let us know what you think about what UCF needs to flesh out in fall camp. Also, we want to hear your thoughts on the run game and that QB2 battle. Do you like Kaleb Annette potentially as your QB2 this season? We want to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Stick with us. We'll be back later today right here on Locked On UCF.